All right, welcome everybody. My name is Gediminas, and today I wanted to share with you about psychology of success. What is going on in the head of successful leaders? Now, these tips are from the book of Science of Being Great. So those of you who haven't read this book, I recommend to get that book. It's quite a good book, but I'm sort of going to do a summary over the next couple of minutes and share with you some of the best tips from that book. You know, what makes a successful person a successful? And I don't know if you had that experience, but I've seen people who it seems like they do everything they need to do. Like they've gone to the trainings, they're sending the messages, they're doing the posts, but somehow the business is not growing. Somehow they're not getting the results. And like one of my mentors said, it doesn't matter how much action you're going to do. If it's the same person who's doing the action, the results are going to be same as well. So sometimes we need to change who we are instead of changing what we do. They say in life you're going to get what you are, not what you want. So these tips are not about how to send a message or how to make a post, but more about what type of person do we need to become to get the better results and to attract the better results into our life. So let's have a look at these tips. Recently, me and Rita just came back from Hawaii, where we attended a business retreat, and actually these tips we picked them up there on our trip in Hawaii. So that's why I wanted to sort of bring these back to you and share them with you as well, because one of the biggest aha or bingo moments while I was there was the fact that quite often we teach our team members what to do, but we don't teach them how to be. How to become a better person, how to become a more confident person, how to become a person who attracts success instead of repulsing it. You know what I mean? So tip number one is gratitude. And chances are you've probably already heard of gratitude, but quite often when I coach people individually, I say, well, there's a big difference between I know and I heard of it. A lot of people say, oh, I know that stuff. I've already been to that training. Oh, I know that stuff already. I've heard it before. Yeah, you've heard it, but you don't know it. You know how you know it? You know it when you do it. You know it when you apply it in practice and you get the results. If you've heard of it, but you're not using it and you're not getting results, then you don't know it. You just heard of it. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? So gratitude is one of those things. Everybody heard of gratitude, but so few people actually are practicing gratitude on a daily basis. Being grateful for everything in your life. Instead of constantly being unhappy, instead of constantly being annoyed because you haven't got that thing, or your team is not as big as you wanted it to be, or your income is not as great as you wanted it to be, what about being grateful for the stuff you do have? Because what you focus on is what you attract more into your life. So when you focus on lack, when you focus on what you don't have, guess what you attract more of? You attract more of what you don't have. But when you focus on gratitude, when you focus on abundance, on the fact that you woke up this morning, on the fact that you have ears and eyes, on the fact that you've got a roof over your head and you've got food in the fridge, then you start attracting more stuff. And what this gratitude creates, it creates a continuous expectation of good things. When you're grateful for the small things you have in life, then you start attracting more things to be grateful for, because that's what you notice. You probably experienced that thing where you buy a piece of clothing, or you buy a handbag, or you buy a certain car, and then everywhere you notice that piece of clothing or that, handbag or that car. Why? Because they started producing a lot of them? No, because that's what you focused on. That's what you noticed. So when you start noticing things to be grateful for, then you start noticing more things to be grateful for. And then you just generally feel happier because you're always in that great feeling of gratitude. Number two is focused thought. I don't know about you, but when I was a kid, we used to play with magnifying glasses. We would go outside, sit on a park bench, and use the magnifying glass to focus the sunlight into one point, and it would start burning. And we would burn our own names, as like early graffiti, we would put, stuff, write things out by burning it into the bench. But it only worked if you held the magnifying glass steady, focused on one dot. If you kept moving the magnifying glass, nothing would happen. Same with our thought. If you think positive, goal-oriented thoughts for 5 minutes a day, and then the rest of the day, you think about wars, about economic crisis, you are jealous, you're talking about rumors about other things behind their backs, you're watching news, you're reading newspapers, you're gossiping with your friends, then guess what? You're moving the magnifying glass. You're not going to attract any great stuff in your life because you're not focused most of the time on what you want. Instead, you're talking about all the crap and you're attracting more crap into your life. So focused thought creates that clear mental picture. What exactly you want, that's what you need to laser focus on. Understand clearly what is your goal, what is your vision, what's your plan, and hold that in your mind for as much time throughout the day as possible. You almost have to become what the word is usually negative, but in this case it's positive, obsessed. Have you noticed that people who are the most successful in life, they almost become obsessed by the thing they do? Whether that's network marketing, whether that's singing, acting, sports, etc. That person is laser focused. They're obsessed by that one thing. They're focused on it. And that's why they become the best at it. But when our attention is scattered, when our thought is scattered, then we get no results. Number 3 is faith. Having faith. And what is faith? Faith is seeing things before they actually happen. And I'm not talking about religious faith, although I'm not saying religious faith is bad, but I'm talking about general faith. Faith in what you do, faith that it's going to work out. And one big bingo moment, one big aha moment for me personally was a realization that everybody has the same amount of faith. Sometimes we hear people say, or sometimes we say it maybe ourselves, oh, I wish I had so much faith as she does. Oh, I wish I had so much faith as he does. But that's an error of thinking. The reality is everybody has the same amount of faith. The difference is, where do you invest that faith? The person who has huge faith in their business, in themselves, that they're going to succeed, they invested their faith in believing in themselves and in what they do. The person who always doubts themselves, who doesn't believe in themselves, who doesn't believe that it's going to work out for them, has used the same amount of faith, but invested it in disbelief, invested it in doubt. You have the same amount of it. The difference is, where do you apply it? Where do you invest it? You don't have less of faith than somebody else. It's just you've invested it in the wrong place. You invested your faith in believing that you're not going to succeed instead of believing you will. So believe it before you see it. A lot of people say, well, when I make that money, then I believe it. When I reach that level, then I'll believe it. It doesn't work that way. You cannot become a millionaire until you believe that you can be a millionaire. You cannot reach the diamond until you believe that you can reach the diamond. You cannot perform consistently or get results outside of your belief area, outside of your belief zone. The reason why you're earning what you're earning right now, the reason why you're getting results that you're getting right now, is because that's what you believe you can get. And that is what you're getting. Once you change your beliefs, your results catch up. Number 4, action. But maybe not the action you always hear. We always hear, oh, you need to do all out massive action. And does that help? Of course it does. Of course it's important. But the action I'm talking about is mastering the small things first. It doesn't matter how fast you run, but if you want to see the sunrise and you're running towards west, you will never reach the goal, no matter how hard you run. So sometimes it's not about just doing action, but doing the action correctly. Mastering the small things first. When you wake up in the morning, making your bed. When you're making yourself that cup of coffee, making a perfect cup of coffee. Doing those actions diligently, doing them the best you can, will form the habit of doing the things right, the habit of keeping your own promises. Because a lot of the times we do a lot of, again, scattered action. Oh, a bit there, I've been busy all day, but there's no result because you're not doing things properly, or you're not finishing them until the end. So master the small things. Start small and then up the ante, but do the things the best you can. Number 5, create, don't compete. I have this abundance mentality where I think that there's enough of everything for everybody. There's enough money for everybody. There's enough clients. There's enough team members. I don't look at other people from other teams or from other companies as my competition, as my enemies. I believe that there's enough for everybody, and other person's success does not take away anything from me. Other person's success does not take away anything from me. I don't need to compete with anybody. All I need to do is compete with my own previous version. All I need to do is the best that I can. All I need to do is better myself. Am I better today than I was yesterday? Am I better this week than I was last week? I don't need to fight other people. I need to learn from them. I need to collaborate with them. I need to work together with them. I don't need to fight against others. There's enough of everything for everybody. Whereas if you have the lack mentality that, other people are out there to get you, other people out there to steal your customers and steal your team members, other people out there, then that's what you're going to attract. Again, what you focus on is what you create more of in your life. Number 6 is harmony. They say you can achieve anything you want as long as it doesn't harm any other people's good. The one case when universe and God will not help you reach your goals is when your goals goes against other people's good. So harmony is living in harmony with the universe, is living in harmony with the world, benefiting while benefiting others. That's why the most important thing is win-win, where everybody wins. Harmony and win-win doesn't mean you have to be poor and give everything away, etc. No, you can be tremendously wealthy and you can make a lot of money, but it all has to be done honestly. It all has to be done with virtue. It all has to be done with standards. It all has to be done through your values. Because if you do it dishonestly, if you do it by cheating, by lying, by fooling, etc., that's when the results, when the fruits are bitter, when it doesn't work out the way it has to work out. They say karma is a bitch. Yeah. So whenever you try to do something in the wrong manner, whenever you try to do something dishonestly, it's always going to bite you in the end. So one of the fastest ways to create huge results in your life is always seeking win-win and always being the person who is just to their virtues. Like one of my mentors says, wrong is wrong, even if everybody's doing it, and right is right, even if nobody's doing it. You have to stay true to your values. Number 7, gratitude. Hang on, Gediminas, you made a mistake. We've already had gratitude. Well, I didn't make a mistake. It is so important that it has to be included twice. It's so valuable that it is worth talking about it 2 times in one presentation, in one training. Do you practice gratitude? Do you spend a few seconds every day writing out a couple of things that you're grateful for? Do you spend a couple of minutes just to close your eyes and see all the things you're grateful for today? You cannot imagine how important that is and how it can transform your life. You know, there's this concept, amor fati, meaning love thy faith. When you love your faith and you're grateful for everything that happens in your life, not just the good stuff, everything, then you can stay in a creative state. You can find good things in everything, even when you're experiencing failure, even when things don't go to plan, even when you're experiencing problems, challenges, obstacles. If you look close enough, you can find something good in all of those situations, something that you can learn from it, some opportunity that is hidden in it, some chances that are hidden in it. If you just look close enough, if you just operate from the mindset of gratitude, instead of going, I'm so upset, I'm so pissed that this happened, I'm grateful. What can I use from this? What can I learn from this? What opportunity can I take from this? You will always find something. I'm telling you. If you look closely at all the bad things that happen to you in your life, if you look closely, you will find a valuable lesson in all of them. You'll find something useful in all of those situations. But the best mastery is finding it there and then, not 10 years later, looking back saying, oh yeah, that thing that happened to me, yeah, actually in the end, it was useful. But right there and then, when it's happening, okay, what can I learn from this? How can I use this thing? And I use this all the time. All the time I experience this, and all the time I find something positive. Number 8, belief. Belief. Know it will manifest. Trust the process. Like one millionaire leader once said, the story of belief and the story of doubt cannot live in the same person, in the same head. You either doubting yourself, doubting your business, doubting the industry, doubting everything, or you believing in it. One or the other. You can't have both. And the problem is when you don't work on the strong belief, when you don't convince yourself, then that's when it's harder. That's when you have to work really hard, and it's even harder and it doesn't work. But when you trust the process, you understand that if I just keep doing these actions, if I just stay faithful to the process, I will get the results. When you're 100% confident that I will find those customers, I'll find those team members, I'll grow my business, I'll earn that income, then the universe gets out of your way. Then things start falling into their place. But you have to have that trust and that faith, because they say in a physical world, in a physical job, the more effort you put into it, the faster it goes, right? If you want to put the nail in a board, the harder you hit it, the faster the nail's going to go in. But when it comes to mental work, what we do here, the more you release, the more you relax, the more you trust the process, the faster it starts working. And the harder you try to, pardon me, the harder you try to push it, the slower it goes. The more you resist it, the slower it goes, right? So it's all about that total belief that it's going to work out. And finally, number 9, living in connection with the universe. You know, I remember I saw this video some time ago, and this man said, well, usually this, like some questions in life are very important, more important than others, right? And one of the important questions is usually like, why am I here? They say like 2 most important days in your life is the day you're born, and the second day, the day you realize why. And the second question, which also is quite important, is like, is there life after death? You know, like what's going to happen, you know, when I die, etc. And I heard this interesting concept where it said, well, imagine if every person on this planet is another version, another piece of your infinite soul. Imagine if at the same time you are living many different lives. You can live a life in the past, you can live a life in the future, you can live a life in the present. But you constantly living different lives. And you come to this realization that the whole world is just you. It's just you having different experiences, living different lives. Every person that you've ever met in your life is just another version of you. You don't remember that that's you. All of those different lives, you don't remember them, but they're all part of your infinite soul. And the whole purpose of this earth is for you to live all of those millions of different lives, that in the end, you become a perfect person. You become God, right? So that's the exercise of this whole world. Now, I know it's a stretch and it may be against your beliefs and religion, etc., but just play with me for a minute. Imagine if the whole world is just you living this infinite amount of different lives. But it's all you. Every single person that is on the Zoom is me, just living a different life. It's piece of my soul having a different experience. Would you then harm other people? Would you then talk bad about other people? Would you humiliate other people? Would you laugh at other people? No, what's the point? It's you. You're just harming yourself because it's your own different life. It's just you who's living a different life. Maybe in that version of your life, you haven't yet learned the lessons. Maybe in that version of your life, you haven't yet gained the manners, right? Maybe in that version of your life, you still need to grow and develop yourself, but it's you. There's no point of harming yourself, right? How different would you treat every single person that you meet if you looked at each of them as you? It's just another version of you. Interesting? I found it interesting, right? So the idea here is when you live in the connection with the universe, you give without expectation of reciprocity because you trust that the channels will return. Again, karma, right? Where you give out, it comes back. It will most often not going to come back from the same person you gave to, right? But you trust that the channels will return everything. And you give, you live in service, you live in trying to help others and give to others instead of trying to fight with others, compete with others, etc. You live in the connection with the universe, in the harmony with the whole universe. It changes how you connect to everything. When you think about how massive the universe is, how many of universes there are, how much energy and resources are in this universe, it is incredible. So for you to live this limited life where you're living in lack, that, oh, it's not enough money, there's not enough that, it's just your own limitation in your mind. There's no limitation in the world. There's no limitation in the galaxy, right? There's no limitation in the universe. The only limitation is that we have created in our head. So that's the training for today, guys. I hope you found this valuable. I hope this maybe encouraged some thought processes in your head. And if you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them now.